Connecting to GNet. Accessing. Accessing. Connecting. LinkedIn.
An unfortunate meeting. Second part. He had his head stuck in a trash recycler, trying desperately to read the label of some alien candy wrapper by pointing his helmet's light at it. Squeaks and whimpers were coming muffled out of the assembly, and while his little legs were flailing desperately in the air, somebody's powerful hand gently pulled him out. Awesome did manage to get the wrapper, though. It was for science, you see. He needed more joke material, and the name of the candy was most strange. Didn't ask the alien who was eating it because he gave him the eye. Was simple to walk around the station, following the dirty, smelly, and loudly munching sentient, whose very existence provided an insurmountably high heap of ideas than the simple wrapper. It was an enormously huge human man and a petite young woman standing next to each other. Both wore happy smiles on their faces and looked really intrigued, amused even by his predicament. Awesome gave them one of his best grins, stuffing the dirty candy wrapper in one of his safe pockets for later study. Politely introduced himself and asked if they'd heard of one of awesome looking hamster fighter pilot called Awesome lurking around. An hour later, they were still exploring Cav's promenade area, and as Awesome was exhausting his joke repertoire, he slowly understood that those two, especially the man, desperately needed some joy and happiness in their lives. It was the duty that all hamsters took, that they spoke of amongst themselves only. The great hamster burden was part of their racial responsibilities towards their patrons. They had suffered a lot, and some were losing themselves in desperation, many even choosing to end their most holy their lives. Hamsters knew that the patrons demanded no service from their clients. They'd take only what was given freely. So long ago, well, not long, really, just saying long ago sounds cool and all mystical like. And so the elders had a secret hamster meeting where they decided, for the holy act of creation, the patrons would receive as payment an eternity of joy in the form of laughter. A lot of it. Both patrons were keen on finding more about him and how he became so awesomely famous. The hamster told them his story, and when the big man frowned each time he mentioned the dead colonists, Awesome was forced to unleash his best of his jokes. That was hard work. Yes, it was. He promptly excused himself and went on a tour around Cav's promenade, well, shops. This time, when Awesome visited the same weapons store he did before boarding the Mushiishi, he bought a semi-auto Mauser K-49, an old and venerable railgun pistol, much bigger than those of his kinds or the bunnies would use in battle. The funny thing was, he actually wanted a weaker weapon this time, but once he grabbed that Mauser, Awesome couldn't let it go. It was as if the pistol itself called him, whispering promises of many a future accurate and deadly hits. Most peculiar. Did his patrons not know nor hear what weapons sometimes whispered? After spending time with that beastly laser rifle on his shooting range, Awesome soon began hearing things. The words that were coming from the laser promised glorious, fiery vengeance and an impending doom of his enemies. That would have been most strange and scary for most. Him being a hamster meant that he would care, but only ever so slightly. Was he crazy? He remembered some of the patrons mentioning that hearing voices coming from inanimate objects was a bad thing. In his mind, Awesome rationalized this very quickly and jokingly accepted all of this as normality for his race. The patrons were wise as they were loving. Surely that was also a part of their awesome and glorious design of his people. Awesome spent some of his remaining creds to put both folding stock and an awesome grip on that pistol. Compared to his size, that Mauser was definitely more of a snub gun than a pistol, but he didn't mind. Alice was adamant about installing a holosight on that and his Freeman laser gun too. As always, Awesome packed as many spare power packs as hamsterly possible. He remembered well his protracted shootout with the slavers on Mushiishi. Next time, his ammo had to be sufficient so that he would be able to take care of the entire boarding crew. He, of course, returned and joined the two patrons on an even longer stride around the station. Didn't take long to understand that they were attached to him. His joyful presence was starting to influence the big man, too. He made him smile a couple times just by grinning at him. But Hamster's job is never done. It might be hard, it might be long, but this awesome client was most determined to put a smile on those faces every day.
If you've liked this content, then go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to this channel, who is supporting Aragmar, the Black Knight, the author of these books. Speaking of books, links are in the description below if you want to read more for yourself. Now back to Mr. B. He'd be most appreciative if you would do so by liking and subscribing to his channel. Now, not to take any thunder from him or anything, but I'm just going to leave off in the usual that I usually do for all the nubs. So, take care of yourselves out there. Keep your head on a swivel. You are dismissed.
Link terminating.